What is going on, guys? It's Rick back with another video, and today I bring you the third round of Leicester Chess Open. As I said in the last video, first round I took a bye. Second round was last video, the draw that I had against an 1800. And yeah, so round 3, I get paired up against Mikael Santos, very experienced player with 1899 ELO, almost 1900. This is like one point away from 1900 when we played. And yeah, of course the list wasn't still updated, and so I was 1489 by the time that I played this game. So let's see. My opponent had the white pieces. I had the black pieces, and he opened with e4. I played d6, which was what I was playing against e4 these tournaments. So d4, knight f6, knight c3, and here e5. So as you guys saw in a couple of videos ago, I had this position against Sergei Demyanchuk, and it was a very nice game, very nice end game. But in this match, my opponent decided to go knight f3, declining this endgame, which is totally fine for white to decline. Knight e7, bishop c4, bishop e7, and here there's a lot of possibilities, but my opponent decided to go for castle, which is the best one. I went for castle, he went h3, and I went c6. So yeah, this is typical lion, like Philidor lion variation positions. I'm gonna try to expand on the queen side, and my opponent is gonna try to take advantage of some weak squares and of his space advantage. But let's see how the game went. So a4, queen c7, bishop e3, b6, and by this time, like this is story time now. By this point in the game, we played a few moves, like nine moves, and the clock was bugging. Like there was some issues with the clock, the chess clock, and we had to call the arbiter. I don't know, the clock wasn't really working, and so like I called the arbiter and said my opponent. I mean, my opponent lost like, I don't know, like 2 minutes or something like that. We didn't realize. I mean, and I asked him, it's okay if you want to just get the time back and reset. We both go to 1:30 or something like that. I don't know. We were talking with the arbiter, and the guy, my opponent, made a huge mistake. He made a huge mistake. So it goes like this. No, it's okay. I'm not gonna use much time. I'm not gonna need it. And I go, oh boy. I go like, I'm like, okay, cool. And in my mind I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna humble you so hard. I'm gonna make you use every single little millisecond that you have in your clock, and you're gonna regret saying that to me. But yeah, let's see. So that is some backstory for basically the title of the video as well. That's the mind games that I was talking about, was that my opponent did, which, yeah, it just made me even more motivated and more like hungry for the win, Queen e2, my opponent kind of, I don't know, just decides to connect the rooks. I go a6. So yeah, this looks very weird what I'm doing. I'm going like c6, like queen c7, b6, a6. This looks like very bad, but like it's actually a plan in this type of positions to just slowly prepare the expansion, and yeah, it's very common. But it looks funny, just look at my pawn structure. It looks very funny. But yeah, here my pawn went rook fd1. I went bishop e7, And here, like bishop e7, like there's always some ideas that white has in these positions to go knight h4, knight f5. So it's always like a question: should I develop the bishop to b7? Should I wait? But yeah, I just decided to develop the bishop to b7 here, which I guess it's fine. You know, in these positions, the engine always likes white way more, mainly because of the space advantage. And yeah, my pieces are, they need time to actually become good. But yeah, so my opponent goes knight h2, which it's a big mistake. It's actually a big mistake, and I realized that knight h2 had to be wrong in some way. And my thought process here was, okay, why is knight h2 so bad? I think, like, I don't know, maybe his idea is to just go knight g4, trade knights, develop his queen, put pressure on my king, I mean, it makes sense if it is that plan. Maybe he's also just trying to go f4, so he's just getting the knight out of the way. But yeah, I think knight h4 is best, because he also has ideas of knight f5, which is annoying, right? But I don't know. Maybe he was afraid of something like knight takes e4, and if takes, I take the knight. But in case that I can't really take e4 because he has knight f5, as I said before, and he's attacking my bishop with tempo, and my knight is also hanging. But the problem is that when I take the knight here, I'm attacking the queen, but he just he attacks my he gets my bishop with check. So now I have to move my king, and he wins the knight, and I can't recapture his knight, so he's just up a piece. But yeah, my opponent, I don't know, maybe didn't see that idea fully, and he just played knight h2. And after knight h2, I didn't play the best move, but I played what I thought was a very nice and correct move. And the move that I did was d5. And why d5? So my thought process was, okay, the knight was on f3. It was supporting the center, supporting his pawns, supporting the center. And when he goes knight h2, the knight goes to the side and is no longer as influence and protection or attack against the center. So my opponent, by moving the knight from f3 to h2, my opponent weakened his center. So what should I do? I should just blow up the center. I mean, I calculated and to see if it actually worked, and apparently this is bad. d5, it just doesn't work tactically through calculation, but I think both me and my opponent didn't see, because my opponent played bishop d3, which is a bad move. Here my calculation was, if he takes here, I'm attacking his bishop, he has to move it, right? So let's say moves it to a2, and here I thought that I could just even probably grab this pawn. I don't know, let me think a bit. What do I want it to do? Yeah, maybe I can just grab this pawn and after takes, play a move like c5, even c5. Oh no, it's his move. But yeah, I mean c5 next, maybe open up this bishop, bishop f6 coming next, rook d8, rook e8, and we have a game, right? So yeah, I mean pawn takes e5 wouldn't be a problem, and yeah. And I also calculated that if takes here, I have takes, and okay, he has to move his bishop, right? Otherwise, like, he just loses it. And here I thought that I could just I thought I could push e4, and it would be fine. But the problem here, the refutation for d5 is that after d takes e5 and knight takes e5, he has this move. He has takes here, and I didn't think this was possible because the bishop is attacked. But the problem here is that after I take the bishop, It takes with the queen, and now I can't recapture this pawn because my queen is pinned and it doesn't have protection. So I had to go something like bishop d6, attack this knight with tempo after, I don't know, knight f3, maybe just take, you know, take, no, actually can't take. So yeah, this wouldn't be so bad after takes, and here, yeah, I mean, we have a game, but yeah, I didn't see all of this for sure. And yeah, he had that that move. So takes, and here he just takes. If I just take here, I'm pretty much just losing a pawn, right? I'm just losing a pawn because takes, and it's just up a pawn, and I have no compensation for it. So yeah, this was the whole variation, but my opponent didn't see this because he played bishop d3, which is an inferior move. After this, I just played d takes e4, knight takes e4 by my opponent, knight takes e4, bishop takes e4, knight f6, eating the bishop with tempo, bishop f3, which is bad. He should have just gone probably bishop f5 here. But he goes back to f3, and now I get e4 with tempo again. He has to move the bishop in here. I think he thought that I would just play knight takes and he could just develop his knight for free. But like, when your opponent has these bad pieces, you shouldn't really trade them because it only helps him. So I went bishop d6, hitting the knight with tempo. The knight can't go to g4 because the bishop is there. The knight can't go to f3 because the pawn is on e4. So knight is forced here. Also, I actually thought that knight f1 was kind of forced. But apparently no, he plays g3, which is a way worse move. Now I get knight d5, and my pieces are just flowing. Knight d5 threatens the bishop at a moment. Let's say the queen moves to, I'm just gonna make a random move. Let's say the queen moves here. Now, you know, I can take the bishop, it takes, and then I get this pawn, and I'm attacking the knight, and my position is just winning. So knight d5 is a very strong knight here, and you know, he has to play c4 to maybe move him from this position, but I can always take, which is not bad, just gaining the bishop here, and I'm also preparing f5, so it was very, very nice. So he does play c4, I take, he takes with the queen, of course, to not lose the pawn on g3, and here I go f5, and I'm here I was like, you know, it was now, like, granted, after d5, after I moved d5, which was that move that I explained all the details, he started thinking a lot, you know, he started getting a little bit nervous, you know, especially in this position. I mean, in this position, he's already like busted here. Although f5 wasn't the best move would be c5, but you know, f5 it just looks so good, and c5, I mean, I don't really understand, like, after, for example, d5 here, what am I exactly threatening? I'm threatening f5 apparently, but after bishop e2, f4, I mean, yeah, I mean, I didn't think that I thought that going f5 immediately would be good, but yeah, c5 is kind of annoying, because now I have to pretty much take and move my bishop to e5, which still is a great square for the bishop. I think the main difference is probably that if I play c5 here, and let's say d5, first of all, these pawns are not going anywhere because my bishop is blockading, and also, I mean, in case that I get this pawn somehow, like my bishop is not as trapped, and in the variation with f5 directly, I thought they would move the bishop, you know, I didn't see c5. I think I got a little bit too careless, but here you can imagine that my bishop is worse than in the other variation, but yeah, it's still perfect for black. So my opponent goes bishop e2 here, and the engine already says -3 for black, which is, I mean, it's crazy, you know, in 3 for black in 23 moves is just crazy. I go king h8 here. I just didn't like the fact that he could give some checks, so I just decided to go king h8, which is a perfectly good move. Knight f1, trying to activate the knight, and here I go rook e8, just bringing the last piece into the attack. Although, yeah, I still need to take some measures to put this bishop on a better square, right? So he goes queen d2, which is kind of annoying here because he's threatening to trade queens with queen d7. Although if he goes like queen d7, I can always go to b8, which is actually the engine recommendation. The engine doesn't care about queen d7, just wants f4, and after, let's say, g takes f4, bishop takes f4, queen d7, it just says, I'll just go to b8, and this is nothing to worry about, which, I mean, yes, but I don't like allowing this activity for my opponent. I feel like it's unnecessary. And so I played bishop c8, which I thought it was a very nice move. The engine, I mean, it's still better, but the engine says it's not necessary. But I felt like this was a nice move, not only because it develops the bishop back to a more active place, and also prevents queen d7. So yeah, here he goes rook a3, which actually surprised me a lot. It's the second best move by the engine, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, rook a3 to in the event that this pawn gets out of here, which it will get. He has rook d3 with pressure along the d file. It's the only thing that's going for him right now. It's just he has control over the d file. Although I can always challenge it with rook d8, but when you're attacking like this and your opponent is has like a weaker position, like you don't really want to trade down. You want to take advantage of the attack. And I went bishop e6. He goes f4, so very nice move. Here I thought here the engine is crazy. The engine just wants me to go rook d8 and ignore the fact that my bishop is hanging. But I just played the more natural, like he takes f3 en passant, and after bishop takes, which, I mean, yeah, it was kind of bad. Maybe I should have just played. Could I even play bishop f6? I don't think I could play bishop f6, because then the problem is maybe like just rook queen d6, it's like trading queens and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it probably doesn't work because I take here, and yeah, I'm just up a pawn, better position, so it's kind of crazy. I mean, but I thought it would be good to open the position up for my bishops, but in retrospect, I mean, if I didn't take, I had a passed pawn, but that passed pawn could easily be blockaded with knight e3. I mean, it was it was just a decision that I thought was the simplest and better. Also, after this knight is kind of tied down to g3 for the moment, because I have a lot of pressure here, so it's a complicated position. It's a very complicated position, but I'm certainly way better. Here I go f4. I mean, I just wanted to open everything up for my bishops, but I don't know if f4 was that good, because, I mean, f4, he always goes g4. He's not gonna take, he's not gonna help me. So yeah, g4, and here, I don't know. Is this pawn good or bad? I mean, the good thing about f4, which I also thought after g4, the reason where I went f4, of course, I knew that he wasn't going to take, but the thing with f4 is that it blocks this knight from developing. Look at this knight, it's so bad on f1, and yeah, I just thought it was a nice move to put in the position. Here I went rook d8, which is just a bad move. When I saw rook a3, I mean, I knew that his idea was to go to d3 when I challenged the d file after the pawn goes to e4. So my opponent played really well. he had this idea in mind and he pushed f4 in order for me to take en passant, takes, and when I challenge the d file, he goes rook d3. And here, I mean, after this rook d8, which is pretty much a loss of tempo, because after rook d3, I don't want to trade, you know, this only helps him to relieve some pressure, as I said. And here I should have just gone rook b8, which would be very nice, very crushing, because you know I'm attacking this pawn twice, and I'm just forcing him to make a lot of decisions. You know, do you defend this pawn? Do you not defend this pawn? You know, and yeah. But I played rook d8, and after rook d3, I went to rook b8, and now it's a different story because I mean, it just goes before and his pieces are kind of better than the less variation. So let's say that after g4 I went rook b8 and he goes before here. Like here, first of all, I have bishop c4. I'm attacking the knight. I'm like not allowing him to go rook d3, although he has bishop, he has queen d7, which I never liked, but I mean, in this concrete position, the engine says it's nothing, you know, and it is understandable because this pawn is hanging, you know. But I don't know. This pawn is also hanging. I mean, there's a lot of stuff hanging in this position. But yeah, I didn't really want to allow this, and yeah, I don't know. I think at this point in the game I was a little bit lost and I didn't really find any active plan, or I was trying my best to find a win or something like that, but it feels like there's no knockout blow in this position. It's just like my advantage is really just in terms of you know, positional play. There's no like immediate tactic that wins a piece or something like that. It's just that my position is so much easier to play and my pieces are way better. Like just compare this bishop, which is a monster, to this knight, you know. uh yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory why black is better, right? Even the king safety, I feel like this king is way safer than his king, but you know, it's hard when you're at the board and you don't know what to do. So I went rook d8, went rook d3, I went rook b8, and here b4, and here I decided to just go a5. I mean, objectively, it's a okay move, you know, it's not the best, but a5 is not bad at all. He took, and the point with a5 was just to, you know, like kind of ruin his structure. And I mean, I gave up a pawn. It was a pawn sacrifice, but then again, I am sure that I can get the pawn back and you know, alleviate the pressure on the queen side. But yeah, I gave him two pass pawns. After rook a8, he goes rook e1, which I didn't see. And yeah, I mean, now it's just completely equal, this position. I lost all my advantages. Kind of sad. Like now if I move the bishop, this bishop is hanging, and yeah, I mean, I go bishop c8, he goes rook b3 here, and we were starting to get low on the clock, both of us. I think we had probably around the same time, I would say. Maybe he had a little bit less, I don't know. Which is funny that I think he had a little bit less after all that trash talk at the start, you know. Here, white is just better after queen d6, apparently. I didn't see this, my opponent also didn't see it. He goes rook b6 here, and I go rook a6, protecting this pawn. Also just, you know, yeah, it's just protecting this pawn, honestly. I'm not really threatening at the moment to play this or any other move. But here my opponent blundered so bad. He blundered so bad. Like, I don't know what went through his mind. He just plays bishop takes c6, which is just a piece blunder, pretty much. It's just a piece sacrifice for a pawn, which is completely crazy. I took the rook, of course. He took, and I took the bishop, and I just won a piece. Like, just count the material. It's crazy. One rook, one queen, one queen. Two bishops versus one knight, and yeah, he has all these pawns, but the thing is that they are gonna fall, you know. He has three passed pawns for the piece, which is kind of crazy. But here he actually found the best move, which is the only move, which is queen d6, which just seems weird, but yeah, apparently it's just the best move because I mean, if he doesn't trade queens, I mean, look at his position. He's all open. Bishop b7 coming soon. Maybe rook d8. That looks awful for white. But he goes queen d6, and here I just have to take. There's no real like other move that I could try, in my opinion. Just takes. And here the good thing for me is that after bishop d4 check, I win the b6 pawn. So yeah, I mean, I'm just up a piece, and yeah, he has a pawn for a piece. Although these pawns are a bit scary because yeah, I mean, they are scary, and I kind of start like I was so confused. Like when he took the pawn on c6 with the bishop, I was super confused. I really didn't know like what just happened. I was like, what? Am I completely winning? What did my opponent do? And yeah, he just goes rook e5, and I start getting stressed out because I'm like, okay, bro, like your opponent just gave you like a free win. Just take it, bro. Just take it. I mean, just convert this. Come on, you're up a piece. And here I start panicking because, of course, rook e5 looked like a very strong move for me. I mean, it's just threatening a5, and I don't know. I thought that this would be nice at first, but then like rook here. What am I actually doing? The pawns are gonna start pushing. So here I just decided after a long think. We were below like, I think we were at this point we were below like 8 minutes or something like that, which for me is already time pressure, being below like 8 minutes or something. I think after this move I got below like 10 minutes. I got to 8 minutes or something like that. I thought for a while after rook e5, and I decided to go for bishop d8, and after knight d2 just bishop d7, and I thought this would be a good formation just to secure all these squares, and look at these bishops. But I mean, this is annoying. This rook here is annoying. The pawns starting to get pushed. This knight coming in to the position, like, oh, it's scary. And I didn't really know if I wanted to like make luft for my king to not get back rank checkmated, if I wanted to push f3 and try to use my passed pawn for distraction or stuff, something like that. I just wanted to take one of the pawns, and I just wanted to trade rooks, and I was like starting to panic with nerves. He goes a5, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, what should I do? And yeah, I mean, almost everything is winning, which is crazy. Go rook f6, which is a bad move though. My idea with rook f6 was just to trade rooks, like, come on, trade rooks. But here he plays a nice move, knight c4, and here I blunder completely in time pressure, but I still had like 5 minutes or 4 minutes, which, I mean, it's kind of sad, but I just blunder the game in one move uh, with rook e6. It's almost the only move that actually blunders the game. There's so many moves that win here. F3, unfortunately, I was so nervous that I couldn't really like calculate a line objectively. I just saw his pawns pushing. I had to play something. I was really like panicking. Like I was like, oh my god, I'm up a piece, but how do I convert this? Can I stop the pawns? Should I sacrifice a piece for the pawns? Something like that. I was very like nervous, and yeah, I was like, okay, the simplest way to win probably is to just trade the rooks, but here just doesn't work. Yeah, because after rook e6, he just pushes a6, which if he took the rook here, yeah, here I would be completely fine. I'm attacking the knight. Here I'm attacking the pawn, and it's just fine, right? There's nothing to worry about here. But unfortunately, he doesn't have to take the rook, which is the detail I missed. He just pushes the pawn to a6, and after rook takes rook, knight takes rook, uh, bishop c8, attacking this pawn. He just pushes the pawn forward. I go bishop b7 to stop the pawn, and in the end he has knight f7 check. So yeah, he just picks up the bishop and just wins the game. Here I resign because yeah, there's nothing I can do. Is just gonna promote and make a queen and win. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but I totally choked out. You know, it's just I wasn't able to keep calm and to just calculate a win. I mean, there were probably a lot of wins. I think even after a5, I mean, I think I can probably even go rook e8, and this looks perfect. Honestly, this looks perfect because I mean, if he takes here, it's just okay. Like these pawns are not going anywhere. I can even go like g5. You know, activate my king and should be winning. You know. Um, so yeah, I mean rook e8. I'm here like he can't move the rook to, let's say he moves the rook to here. I mean just check and I win a knight, you know. So yeah, he's forced to, like, I don't know, play knight f3 maybe is the best move according to the engine. And after, I mean, can I even take? I mean, taking is kind of scary though. I was trying to think of takes, but then this bishop is hanging, and he's kind of threatening this. So the knight f3, can I even go like king g8 here? King g8 looks good because then he doesn't have the fork at the end. But let's say a6 here, a6, bishop b6. You know, what does he do? Uh, you know, maybe if he trades knight here. What about here? Yeah, it's still complicated. Ended up losing, and yeah, it was a bit sad. But yeah, I mean, like these types of losses will happen a lot more times, and it's just it was a very long video, guys. Thanks for watching all of this, and yeah, I mean, next video will be a very exciting game as well. I hope you're enjoying this. This was definitely my best tournament ever so far. So yeah, I'm excited to show you some nice games that I played here. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching once again, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye bye.